Chapter 1. The phone call that shatters everything. Lucas hated hotel lighting. It was always too yellow, too dim, too artificial, a perfect reflection of how disconnected he felt when he had to travel for work. He stood near the large window of his 10th-floor hotel room, staring at the cityscape of another state, another unfamiliar skyline. His laptop was open on the desk behind him, its screen filled with unfinished reports for the client he had spent all morning meeting. He had just loosened his tie when his phone buzzed. Vanessa, his wife. He frowned at the caller ID. She rarely called during the day unless something was wrong or unless she wanted something. Lucas rubbed his forehead and answered, forcing his voice to sound neutral. "Hey, Vanessa, everything okay?" What came through the speaker wasn't her usual voice. It wasn't even close. Her tone was icy, clipped, but layered with something that immediately set off alarm bells, a kind of smug confidence. "Oh, everything is great," she said. "Actually, better than great." Lucas hesitated. "All right, what's going on?" There was a pause, but not the awkward kind, the calculated kind. As if she was smiling on the other end, savoring a moment she had been waiting for. "I just wanted to let you know," Vanessa said, "that I'm divorcing you." Lucas blinked. "What?" Her voice sharpened, like a knife being drawn across glass. "I said I'm divorcing you. And before you ask, yes, I'm serious. Completely serious." The hotel room suddenly felt colder. The hum of the air conditioning seemed louder, the world narrower. Lucas pressed his fingers to the bridge of his nose, grounding himself. "Vanessa," he said slowly, "where is this coming from?" "We didn't even know. Don't pretend you're surprised," she cut in, practically spitting out the words. "You've been boring me for years, Lucas. Years. And I finally realized I deserve better." He stared at the carpet, jaw flexing. "Better? Yes. Someone who actually appreciates me. Someone who knows how to have fun. Someone who isn't chained to spreadsheets and client meetings. Someone like Jordan." The name hit him like a punch he didn't see coming. He swallowed. "Jordan? My boyfriend, Lucas. I assumed you'd figured out from the context." She laughed, not the familiar laugh he once loved, but a cold, triumphant one. "He treats me the way I deserve. He makes me feel alive, and we're starting a new life together." Lucas gripped the edge of the windowsill to keep his hand from shaking. "You're telling me this over the phone? Why not? You're always gone anyway," she snapped. "Hell, I thought about texting you, but I figured I would at least call for something this big." He closed his eyes for a moment, steadying his breathing. "Vanessa, slow down. We can talk about this when I'm back." "No, Lucas, you don't get it." Her voice suddenly dripped with malicious delight. "I already sold the apartment." Lucas's heartbeat stopped for a split second. "You what?" "I sold the apartment," she repeated, emphasizing each word. "Our apartment. Gone. Signed, sealed, delivered. Jordan and I are moving in together, and I'm using the money to start fresh. You'll have to find a new place. Maybe something cheap, within your practical budget." She mocked his voice on the last two words. He stared at his reflection in the window, a man blindsided, a man betrayed, a man trying desperately not to explode. "When did you sell it?" he asked, voice dangerously calm. 2 days ago, she said cheerfully. "Jordan helped with the paperwork. He's amazing at this stuff." Then she added, almost singing, "Oh, you should have seen the buyer's face. They were thrilled. I even gave them a small discount just to get it over with fast." Lucas's pulse pounded in his ears. "You sold our home without telling me." "Lucas, please," she scoffed. "It's community property. I don't need your permission." He didn't answer. Couldn't. His mind was spinning, crashing, racing all at once. Vanessa took his silence as an invitation to twist the knife deeper. "So, anyway," she continued casually, "you'll have to pack your stuff when you get back. Jordan and I are staying there until the buyer finishes the move-in process. But don't worry, we left a drawer for your things. For now." He felt something inside him crack, not break entirely, just a clean fracture. A place where shock was slowly giving way to something sharper, colder. Vanessa's laugh echoed through the phone again. "You should have heard Jordan when I told him I was finally leaving you. He said, about time." She paused for dramatic effect. "He's so proud of me for taking control of my life." Lucas's jaw clenched so tightly it ached. she went on, delighted with herself. Honestly, Lucas, you'll thank me one day. You were holding me back. I want more. I deserve more. And Jordan is more. He finally drew a breath. Are you finished? He asked. Her tone snapped. What is that supposed to mean? He let the silence sit between them for a beat. Then, with a voice so calm it startled even him, he said, Sounds good. The other end went dead quiet. What? She asked, her tone cracking for the first time. I said sounds good, he repeated evenly. If that's what you want, then okay. She sputtered. You don't have anything to say? You're not angry? You're not even going to fight for this marriage? Why would I? He asked. Another silence, this one heavier. He could practically hear her confusion, the expectation that he would break down, beg, scream, curse, plead. Anything but this. You're pathetic, she snapped finally. Absolutely pathetic. Her voice trembled with anger she hadn't expected to feel. Jordan was right. You really are spineless. Lucas almost laughed at the projection in her tone, but he held it in. Have a safe life, Vanessa, he said quietly. Before she could respond, she hung up. Hard. Lucas lowered the phone slowly, staring at the blank screen. The room was silent except for the faint buzz of the air conditioning and the muffled traffic below. He felt the pain first, sharp, deep, personal. Then the humiliation. Then the anger. And finally the clarity. He put his phone on the table, grabbed his jacket, and walked toward the elevator. The drive back home would take hours. Good. He needed the time. He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, eyes sharp on the road ahead. He wasn't begging. He wasn't breaking. He was planning. And he stayed completely silent the entire way back, organizing his next moves one by one. Chapter 2, The Hidden Truth Vanessa Forgot. The highway stretched endlessly in front of Lucas, a long ribbon of gray cutting through empty fields. His hands remained locked on the steering wheel, knuckles pale, jaw clenched so tightly it sent dull aches into his temples. The world outside passed in a blur, billboards, gas stations, other cars, but none of it registered. His mind was consumed, replaying Vanessa's voice over and over again. I'm divorcing you. I sold the apartment. Jordan and I are starting a new life. Each repetition landed like a hammer, but beneath the shock and betrayal, something else was forming. A memory, a detail, a truth she had no idea she had forgotten. He exhaled sharply and muttered to himself, she really didn't read that paperwork, the refinancing. 6 months ago, during a period when Vanessa was too busy with her girls' nights, Lucas had handled the refinancing of the apartment. The bank needed signatures, and Vanessa had been irritated about the timing. Can we do this later? She'd groaned. Just 10 minutes, he'd said. Fine, whatever, where do I sign? She hadn't read a single page. She just signed where he pointed, impatient, annoyed, scrolling on her phone the entire time. Those documents weren't just refinancing forms. They included the deed transfer. At the time, their lawyer recommended it for tax and liability reasons, and Vanessa didn't care enough to ask questions. Lucas remembered the exact moment she scribbled her signature, completely oblivious. And now she believed she had sold a property that only he owned. A dark, humorless laugh escaped his lips. You really screwed yourself, Vanessa. He signaled and pulled off the highway into a rest area, parking under a big oak tree. His hands trembled, anger, adrenaline, exhaustion. He wasn't sure which anymore. He took a slow breath, grabbed his phone, and scrolled to the contact he needed. Chloe Bennett, his closest friend from college, and a damn good attorney. He hesitated only a second before pressing call. She picked up on the second ring. Lucas, you all right? You're not supposed to be driving this weekend. He didn't answer her concern. Chloe, I need you. It's important. Her tone sharpened immediately. What happened? He leaned back in his seat, staring up at the tree branches above him. Vanessa called me. She said she's divorcing me. Silence. Then shit. Lucas, I'm sorry, but that doesn't sound like the whole story. It's not. He took a shaky breath. She also said she sold the apartment. Chloe's reaction was instant and loud. What? Yeah. That's not possible, she said, half laughing, half in disbelief. She can't sell it without your signature. The deed's in your name. I know, he said softly. She forgot. There was a pause, then a stunned whisper. Oh my God. She forgot. Lucas closed his eyes, letting the truth settle. Chloe, she thinks it's community property. She thinks she had the right. She didn't, Chloe said firmly. Lucas, she committed fraud. If she took money, even a deposit, she's in serious legal trouble. I figured. Jesus, Lucas. Chloe's voice was tight, professional mode kicking in. Did she already hand over paperwork? Did a notary get involved? Did she sign anything as the owner? She said everything was done, he muttered. She laughed about it. Of course she did, Chloe snapped. She's always been impulsive, but this is next-level stupidity. He let out a long, tired sigh. So what do we do now? We, Chloe emphasized, are going to handle this the right way. First, I need every document from the refinancing. All the pages. All signatures. Send me scans as soon as you get home. I will. Second, I need the buyer's information, name, contact number, anything. I'll reach out to them personally. If the sale went through under false representation, we can void it. Lucas rubbed his forehead. What about Vanessa? If the buyer complains? If money exchanged hands? She could be charged. Chloe paused. But let's focus on protecting you first. Lucas's grip tightened around his phone. I don't want her dragged into court if it can be avoided. I just want this fixed. Chloe exhaled. I know, Lucas. You're a better person than she deserves. But this is a legal mess, and she created it. I get that. And if she tries to blame you? Chloe asked. Lucas scoffed. She already did. She blamed me for being boring, for being practical, for I don't know existing. A beat of silence. Then, quietly, Lucas, look at me. He blinked, momentarily confused, then realized she meant listen. Her voice softened. This isn't about what she said. This is about the facts. The law is on your side. Completely. He inhaled deeply through his nose. Right. Good. Now tell me everything she said. Word for word. Lucas went through the entire phone call, every insult, every mocking laugh, every arrogant declaration that she had sold their home. By the time he finished, Chloe was silent again, but for a different reason. That's unbelievable, she muttered. She really thinks she's untouchable. She sounded proud of herself, Lucas said bitterly. Well, Chloe said dryly, she's about to have a very rude awakening. Lucas stared out at the parking lot, watching a couple unload groceries from their car. He envied their normalcy. Lucas, Chloe continued, her tone shifting from lawyer to friend, listen to me carefully. Do not confront Vanessa about the deed. Do not warn her. Do not engage. Let me gather everything first. He swallowed. I wasn't planning to tell her. Good. Keep her cool. Let the paperwork speak for itself. He nodded, even though she couldn't see him. I can do that. And when you get home, she added, don't talk to her alone. If she's there, call me. She said she's staying in the apartment until the buyer moves in. Chloe groaned. Of course she did. All right, then be calm. Be collected. Don't mention anything. I'll work on voiding the sale and reaching the buyer. I'll handle the legal fallout. Lucas's chest tightened with a mix of relief and simmering anger. Thanks, Chloe. Really, that's what I'm here for, she said gently. Just drive safe. And Lucas, yeah, you didn't deserve any of this. Don't let her make you feel small. He closed his eyes, letting her words sink in. I won't. Good. I'll call you in a few hours. The call ended. Lucas placed the phone on the passenger seat, took a long breath, and restarted the car. The engine hummed back to life. He didn't turn on music, didn't turn on the radio, didn't call anyone else. The only sound was the rumble of the tires on the asphalt as he pulled back onto the highway. With each passing mile, the truth grew sharper, clearer. Vanessa had tried to destroy his life, but she had forgotten one very important detail. She had sold a home that wasn't hers. And as the miles stretched on, Lucas's anger settled into something far more controlled. A plan, a calm, steady acceptance. He tightened his grip on the wheel and drove on, silently, letting Chloe handle the law while she gathered the documentation. He would stay calm. He would stay quiet. And the truth Vanessa signed without reading, would speak for itself. Chapter 3. Returning home to a war zone. The sky was dark by the time Lucas pulled into the parking lot of the apartment complex. A light drizzle had started, misting the windshield, blurring the familiar shapes of the building he had called home for years. His home, the place he had cared for, paid for, protected. The place Vanessa now believed she had sold like some useless trinket she was finished with. He sat in the car for a moment, breathing, centering himself. Chloe's words echoed in his head. Stay calm. Don't confront her yet. Observe everything. Lucas gripped the steering wheel, then finally stepped out. The air was cool, carrying the faint smell of wet asphalt. He walked toward the building with steady, deliberate steps. His heart was pounding, but his expression stayed composed, a blank, unreadable mask. He entered the lobby, rode the elevator up, and stopped outside the apartment door listening. Laughter. Vanessa's high-pitched, gloating laugh mixed with a deeper male voice, Jordan's. They were drinking, joking, living comfortably inside his home, as if they had already claimed it. Lucas unlocked the door. It swung open with a soft click. The scene inside looked like a cheap imitation of a celebration, and a disrespectful one at that. His living room was littered with half-empty wine bottles, an opened whiskey bottle on the table, and 2 glasses on coasters that weren't being used. Vanessa's shoes, heels she never wore at home, were tossed carelessly on the couch. Jordan's cheap cologne filled the space like a thick fog. Vanessa noticed him first. She stood near the kitchen counter, wearing a dress Lucas had bought her last year, one she claimed she never liked. Now she wore it proudly, almost spitefully, swirling a wine glass in her hand. "Well, look who finally decided to come home," she said with a smirk. Jordan turned, leaning casually against the counter like he belonged there. He lifted his glass mockingly. "Hey man, rough drive?" he asked, feigning sympathy. Lucas stepped inside slowly, closing the door behind him. He didn't say a word. Not yet. Vanessa exchanged a look with Jordan, her confidence swelling when she saw Lucas's calm demeanor. "You're quiet," she taunted. "Cat got your tongue?" Or is reality finally sinking in? Lucas gave her nothing. His face was a polished stone, smooth, expressionless, unreadable. Jordan snorted. "Dude, you look like someone just kicked your puppy." He slid an arm around Vanessa's waist, pulling her close. "You didn't think she'd actually go through with it, did you?" Vanessa winked at Jordan, loving every second. "Lucas always underestimated me. Always thought I was too scared to make real decisions." Lucas moved deeper into the living room, his eyes scanning everything. His desk chair pushed aside. Important documents he'd left neatly stacked now spread out with water ring stains. One of his framed photos, him and Vanessa from years ago, was face down on the floor. He bent down, lifted it, and placed it upright on the table. His movement was slow, careful, too careful, the kind of movement that made Vanessa roll her eyes. "Oh, please," she scoffed. "Don't get sentimental now. The past is over." Jordan started chuckling again. "Man, she said you'd take this hard, but this is pathetic." Lucas finally spoke, his voice low and steady. "You're drinking my whiskey." Jordan smirked wider. "Well, our whiskey now. Or technically the buyer's. But hey, they're not here yet, right?" He shrugged and took another swig. Vanessa sipped her wine. "Relax, Lucas. It's not like you're the one paying for this place anymore." He looked at her slowly. "And you think you are?" She smirked. "Correction. I sold it. It's done. Jordan and I are just enjoying the last days of living here before we leave." Jordan wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "She did the hard work. You should be grateful." Lucas's expression didn't change. "Grateful?" Jordan grinned. "Yeah, she's setting you free, bro." Vanessa giggled and kissed Jordan's cheek. "I told him he'd thank me eventually." Lucas took a slow step toward the dining table. He picked up one of the wine bottles, an expensive one he had been saving for their anniversary. The cork was left on the table, wine sloshing lazily inside. "Did you open this?" he asked quietly. Vanessa shrugged. "You weren't here, and I didn't think you'd need it." Jordan poured himself more. "Lighten up, man. It's just wine." Lucas placed the bottle back down gently, aligning it perfectly with the edge of the table. Jordan and Vanessa exchanged confused looks, as if they were expecting shouts, curses, maybe even tears. Instead, Lucas simply walked to the hallway, looking around. His office door open. A jacket of Jordan's thrown over Lucas's office chair. His guitar, untouched for months, lying on the floor as if kicked aside. He picked it up, cleaned off a faint shoe mark. "Jordan," Vanessa said loudly, "don't worry if he looks stiff. He'll loosen up eventually." Jordan laughed. "You mean after we leave and he finally realizes he's alone?" "Oh, stop." Vanessa kissed him again, lingering, ensuring Lucas saw it. "He'll survive. He always does. Like a little loyal dog." Lucas returned to the living room, setting the guitar upright against the wall. His gaze moved slowly over everything. Every detail, every disrespect. He didn't shout. He didn't crack. He didn't break. Instead, he folded his arms. "Are you finished?" Vanessa smirked. "With what?" "Whatever this performance is." Jordan bristled. "Performance? We're celebrating. Something you never did." Lucas nodded once. "Noted." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "You're pathetic. You know that? You don't even care enough to fight." He didn't answer. He simply stood there, watching them, letting them expose their arrogance, their ignorance, their assumptions. Jordan walked up to him, closer than necessary, invading Lucas's personal space. "You want to hit me, don't you? Go on. Try it." Lucas looked him dead in the eyes. "No," Jordan's smile faltered. "Just a bit." "What?" "I don't hit trash." Jordan stepped back, offended. "You." Vanessa placed a hand on Jordan's chest. "Don't waste your energy on him. He's not worth it. He's going to be out of here soon anyway." Lucas remained silent. Vanessa lifted her chin smugly. "You know, I actually expected you to cry. Or yell. Or I don't know, something. But this..." She gestured at him. "This blank stare? It's creepy." Jordan nodded. "Yeah, dude. You're giving serial killer vibes." Lucas's lips twitched, not into a smile, but into something colder. "Is that what you think?" Vanessa scoffed. "We think you're done. Defeated. Accepting your fate." Lucas looked around the apartment one more time. Every item out of place. Every insult thrown in his face. Every boundary crossed. He let all of it etch itself into his memory. Then he turned back to them, calm as ever. "I see." Jordan frowned. "See what?" Lucas walked to the door, gripping the handle lightly. He didn't open it, just stood there. Vanessa smirked, confident she had broken him. "What? Running away already?" He looked over his shoulder, expression unreadable. "No," he said softly. "Just preparing." "For what?" Vanessa demanded. He didn't answer. He simply observed them one last time, the laughter, the arrogance, the entitlement, and let his expression settle into a cold, calculating stillness. He was preparing for the confrontation, and they had no idea. Chapter 4, The Deed Reveal. Everything changes. Jordan is still riding the high of his own arrogance as he leans back on Lucas's couch. Lucas's, not that he realizes it yet. Legs spread, one arm draped over the backrest like he's posing for a cheap magazine cover. Vanessa hovers beside him, arms crossed, chin lifted just a bit too high. She's trying to keep her earlier confidence alive, but the tremor in her fingers gives her away. Lucas steps farther into the living room, calm as stone, carrying a slim folder under his arm. Jordan's smirk widens. "Back already? Thought you'd take a moment to cry in your car." He chuckles and clinks his beer bottle against the edge of the table. "Man, that was quick." Vanessa forces a laugh that doesn't match her eyes. "Don't start with him," she mutters to Jordan, though her gaze stays locked on Lucas like she's waiting for him to break. But Lucas says nothing. He just walks to the center of the room, unhurried, placing the folder on the coffee table with deliberate calm. The sound of it touching the wood is small, barely a tap, but it slices through the room like a blade. Jordan raises his eyebrows. "What's that? Divorce papers?" "Buddy, she already beat you to it." Vanessa laughs again, brittle. "Just get it over with, Lucas." She flicks her hand dismissively, trying to act as though she's in control. "You need to accept reality." "Jordan and I are, we'll see," Lucas replies quietly. Jordan scoffs. "Bro, don't start acting mysterious. It doesn't suit you." Lucas ignores the jab. He flips the folder open and removes a crisp document, sliding it forward until it sits directly in front of Jordan. "Read it." Jordan snorts. "What? You wanted to read your feelings?" "Pass." But Vanessa leans in just enough to see the bold header. "Property title deed." Her blood drains from her face. Jordan sees her reaction and stops laughing. Hold up. He grabs the paper and sits up straighter. What is this? The deed to this apartment, Lucas says evenly. Go ahead. Jordan starts reading with a lazy smirk, one that slowly evaporates with each line his eyes track. The room grows painfully quiet. His brows crunch together. What the? Owner. Lucas read. Sole owner. He flips to the next page. When was this done? 5 months ago. Lucas answers. Jordan glances sharply at Vanessa. You told me the place was yours. That you and him shared it. That you sold it. Vanessa stares at the floor. Well, it was ours. But you signed refinancing papers without reading them. Lucas cuts in, his voice steady. The deed transferred into my name only. Legally, this home is mine. Jordan looks between them, realization dawning in brutal, slow motion. You sold a place that wasn't yours. Vanessa shoots Lucas a glare that could peel paint. Lucas tricked me. He must have. You did something all I did, Lucas replies, was hand you papers the bank provided. You didn't read them. You rushed. You insisted on signing quickly because you were late for brunch with your friends. Jordan turns his full attention to Vanessa. So, you tried to sell his house behind his back. I didn't try. I did sell it, she snaps desperately, immediately hearing how insane the sentence sounds. I didn't know. Lucas is manipulating this whole thing. Jordan stands abruptly, the beer bottle clinking against the table as he sets it down harder than necessary. So you lied, he says flatly. To me. About everything. Vanessa reaches for him, voice shaking. No, Jordan, listen. I didn't lie. I just didn't know. Lucas is always planning things behind my back. Lucas lifts a single eyebrow. Funny accusation coming from you. Jordan shoots him a look. Stay out of this. But then he turns back to Vanessa. You told me you own this place. That you'd sell it, and we'd use the money to start fresh. You didn't own Jack. I thought I did. Vanessa's voice cracks, panic rising like water flooding a sinking boat. Lucas picks up the deed again and taps it lightly with his finger. And there's something else Jordan should know. Jordan stiffens. What now? Selling a property you don't legally own? Lucas says slowly, clearly. It's called fraud. Real estate fraud. Punishable by fines, charges, even jail time in some cases. Vanessa's jaw drops. Lucas, what are you trying to do? Are you threatening me? I'm stating facts, Lucas says. My lawyer is working on it already. Jordan's whole posture changes. His bravado evaporates. His eyes widen just slightly, fear creeping in around the edges. You didn't tell me anything about this, he says to Vanessa, his voice lowering, the anger simmering. I didn't know, she pleads, grabbing his arm. Jordan, I swear, he yanks his arm away. Hard. Don't touch me. Vanessa freezes. Jordan steps back, shaking his head. Oh my God. I walked into this mess trusting you. Defended you. Thought you were stuck with some boring husband holding you back. But you're out here committing crimes. It's not like that, no, he snaps. It's exactly like that. Lucas stands quietly, watching the unraveling with an expression that's nearly blank, but not quite. There's a razor-thin edge of satisfaction there. Not joy, not gloating, just a controlled acknowledgement of the justice unfolding in real time. Jordan points at Vanessa, eyes blazing. You lied to me, used me, dragged me into something that could blow back on me. You think I'm going down with you? Hell no. Vanessa looks like the floor has opened beneath her. Jordan, wait. Jordan grabs his jacket off the chair. No, I'm done. He looks at Lucas next, awkward, embarrassed. Man, I didn't know. I swear. I know. Lucas says coolly. You were just stupid, not a criminal. Jordan flinches, but he accepts it, nods once, and heads for the door without another word. He leaves it swinging open behind him. Vanessa stands there in the center of the living room, shaking, completely alone now, stripped of the pride she walked in with. Her eyes snap to Lucas, wide and wild. You ruined everything. Lucas slowly picks the deed back up, folds it neatly, and places it back in a folder. No, he says, voice low and steady. You did. Vanessa's mouth opens, but no words come out. Chapter 5. Lucas takes back his home. The silence after Jordan's exit hangs in the air like smoke, thick, bitter, choking. Vanessa stands frozen, still staring at the door he disappeared through, as if she can pull him back with sheer willpower. Her chest rises and falls in sharp, panicked breaths. Lucas watches her with a steady, unreadable expression. The folder rests in his hand, the deed inside like a quiet weapon he no longer needs to brandish. Finally, he speaks. Vanessa. Her head jerks toward him instantly, eyes wide and glistening. She's already unraveling. You need to leave, Lucas says simply. The words hit her like a slap. What? She takes a small step toward him. Lucas, no, we're not doing this. You can't just kick me out. I can, he replies, voice calm, almost gentle. And I am. She shakes her head violently. Lucas, stop. This is our home. I made this place. I decorated it. I built our life here. You try to sell it behind my back, he says. To run off with someone else. That was before all this. You blindsided me. You set me up. She points at him with a trembling finger. You manipulated that refinancing thing. You wanted this. It doesn't matter what you believe, Lucas answers. You're leaving. The panic surges through her. She switches gears fast. Her voice softens. Baby, listen. She steps closer, reaching out. I was confused, okay? Jordan, he pressured me. He made me think you didn't appreciate me. I made a mistake. We can fix this. Lucas steps back, letting her hand hang in the air between them. No, he says quietly. We can't. Her face twists, the softness crumbling. Lucas, don't do this. I was angry. That's why I said I wanted a divorce. You laughed when you said it. He reminds her. She flinches. I was emotional. You were proud. Vanessa's voice rises, sharp as glass. Fine. I was proud. I was hurt. You never fight for me. You act like everything is fine all the time. You don't show anything. Lucas doesn't respond. There's nothing to say. His silence only makes her frantic. She storms toward him, fists balled. Say something. Yell at me. Do something. Stop standing there like a robot. He looks at her steadily. Leave. She stops dead. Then comes the next phase, anger, hot and wild. You ungrateful bastard, she shouts. After everything I did for you, everything I sacrificed, you're kicking me out? You cheated, he says flatly. You drove me to it, she fires back. You were boring, predictable, always working, never spontaneous. Jordan made me feel wanted, then go feel wanted somewhere else. Her voice cracks again. The anger melts in a sobbing desperation with a speed that makes Lucas realize just how many times she's used this tactic. Lucas, please. She falls to her knees in front of him, clutching at his pant leg. I don't have anywhere to go. You had somewhere to go, he answers coldly. Until 5 minutes ago. She lets out a broken noise, half sob, half growl. You don't understand. Jordan just left because of you. Because of your stupid deed thing. That's on you, Lucas says. Not me. She looks up at him with mascara streaking down her cheeks, eyes almost feral. You're not serious. You're not actually doing this. I am. He gently but firmly removes her hands from his leg, stands her up, and guides her toward the door. She resists instantly. No, Lucas, stop. Stop. You can't do this. She digs her heels into the carpet. Let's talk about this. We can fix our marriage. I'll go to therapy. I'll change. You already changed, he replies. Just not in the way you think. She tries again, switching to a soft, pleading tone. I'm scared, Lucas. You weren't scared when you tried to replace me. That shuts her up. Tears spill over her cheeks, real, maybe. Or another performance. Hard to tell now. When they reach the door, she grabs the frame with both hands, clinging like her life depends on it. You're choosing this. Remember that. You're choosing to destroy us. There's no us anymore. Her voice drops to a hiss. You'll regret this. Lucas looks at her calmly. No, I won't. He opens the door. The hallway light spills in, cold and fluorescent. Vanessa, he says firmly, leave. She stares at him, chest heaving, eyes blazing with betrayal and disbelief. Then, finally she steps out. Lucas, her voice wobbles. Please. He doesn't move. Her face collapses. She lets out one last, defeated sob before he closes the door, slowly, deliberately between them. Click! The lock turns with a solid, satisfying finality. For the first time in years, the apartment is utterly silent. Lucas stands there, hand still resting on the door handle, breathing slowly. His heart is pounding but steady. The silence feels strange, unfamiliar but soothing, like stepping into an empty church after a storm. He walks back into the living room. The place looks different now, bigger, in a way. Cleaner. The air feels lighter simply because she's no longer in it. But as he scans the room, he sees the subtle imprints of Vanessa everywhere. The throw pillows she insisted on. The framed prints she claimed were artistic but never matched the rest of the decor. The scent of her expensive candle burning lingers in the air. Her shoes by the door. Her jacket draped over the couch. Her makeup cluttering the dining table. It all looks like a stranger's things. Lucas exhales slowly. This used to be my home, he murmurs to himself. When did it stop feeling like it? He walks through each room quietly, touching nothing at first, just observing. The bedroom, once warm and shared, feels like a museum of pretending. The closet is dominated by her clothes, her heels, her handbags, leaving barely any space for him. The bathroom counter is coated in her products, bottles, brushes, a chaos of colors and scents. Even the kitchen, his favorite place, is filled with gadgets she bought on a whim but never used. Lucas closes his eyes. It's time. Time to reclaim what she took piece by piece without him noticing. He steps back into the living room, rolls up his sleeves, and takes a steady breath. The silence holds him, not crushing, but comforting. He's ready. Chapter 6, Cleaning Out the Ghosts. The morning light creeps into the apartment like it doesn't recognize the place anymore, like it senses something has shifted. Lucas stands in the center of the living room, hands on his hips, surveying the battlefield. Last night, he'd kicked Vanessa out. Today, he starts removing the traces she left behind. He exhales once, steady and deliberate, then picks up an empty cardboard box from the stack he'd bought downstairs at the convenience store. The sound of the flaps unfolding echoes in the quiet room, a sound both hollow and liberating. All right, he murmurs to himself. Let's do this. The first box. He walks to the couch and picks up Vanessa's designer jacket, the one she always bragged about, always reminded him how much it cost. He folds it, not gently, but carefully enough to avoid creating more emotional weight, and drops it into the box. Next goes her overpriced throw pillow, with the gold stitching she'd claimed elevated the room. The tassels brush his knuckles. He smirks to himself. Never liked that thing. He heads to the dining table, sweeping her makeup palettes, brushes, powders, and lipsticks into his arm, and gently laying them in the box. The collection smells like vanilla and chemical flowers Vanessa's scent. A memory hits him. Vanessa laughing in the mirror. Lucas, don't touch my stuff. You're clueless about makeup. He shakes the memory off. It's just stuff, he whispers. But memories don't listen. The second box. He grabs another box, moves to the bookshelf. Vanessa insisted on decorating it with faux philosophical books she never read. Titles like Finding Harmony and The Art of Being Present. Lucas chuckles bitterly. Should have read that one. He empties the shelf methodically. Pick up a book. Drop it in the box. Pick up another. Drop. Repeat. The movements feel like scraping dust off his own life. When the shelf is finally empty, he runs his hand along the clean wood. The apartment looks bigger every time he clears a surface. He feels lighter, relieved, in control. For the first time in a long time, he feels like himself again. The third box. Now comes the bedroom. Lucas stands in the doorway for a moment, inhaling the faint scent of her perfume. Not pleasant, just familiar. Too familiar. Not anymore, he says under his breath. He steps inside and begins emptying her side of the closet. Dresses, blouses, skirts, he pulls each item off the hanger, folds it imperfectly, and stacks in the box. He finds bags she hid from him, tags still attached. Figures. He works silently, but the memories keep flashing. Vanessa rolling her eyes. You never notice anything, Lucas. He had noticed. He just stayed quiet. He removes her shoes from the rack, heels she never wore because they hurt too much, yet insisted on buying anyway. He throws them into the box with a satisfying thud. Finally, he reaches the drawer where she kept her jewelry. Bracelets, rings, necklaces, some real, most fake but photographed to look real on social media. He packs them carefully. Somewhere inside, an old ache stirs. He shuts the drawer firmly. The bathroom. The bathroom is chaos, like walking into a scented storm. Bottles everywhere. Hair products, lotions, bath bombs, lipsticks, face masks. It's a shrine built to Vanessa. Lucas grabs a trash bag. He starts emptying the counter, one item at a time. Plop, plop, plop. Midway through, his phone buzzes on the counter. He doesn't have to check it. He already knows who it is. He glances at the screen anyway. Vanessa. Lucas, please answer. Another buzz. Vanessa. We need to talk. Another. Vanessa. I'm outside. Lucas sets the phone down, screen facing the counter, and continues tossing bottles away. Bang, bang, bang. A knock at the front door. Lucas. Open the door. Vanessa's voice muffles through the hallway. Lucas. I know you're in there. He continues cleaning, unbothered. Her knock grows louder, more frantic. Lucas, talk to me, please. He tosses a half-used cleanser into the trash bag. The knocking goes on for several minutes before it stops abruptly. Then silence. Lucas waits a moment. His heart beats slower. His breath is steady. He reaches for the next bottle. Ghost in the kitchen. He heads to the kitchen next. Vanessa had cluttered every counter with gadgets she never used, air fryers, smoothie makers, juicers, all collecting dust. Lucas starts unplugging them one by one. You never cook, Vanessa had once said, mocking him. He smirks. Funny, she hadn't cooked either. He wipes the counters down, feeling the grime lifting, the space clearing. The kitchen smells like lemon cleaner instead of her fake peach candles. He rinses the sink, scrubbing the stains until it gleams. The apartment is starting to feel like a blank canvas. More memories, more boxes. He moves room to room, collecting her remnants. Old letters she never mailed. Receipts from expensive brunches she hid from him. Perfume bottles with barely any liquid left. Hair ties scattered everywhere. Notes she left for herself. He finds a photo of them from years ago, before the cracks formed, before the coldness, before Jordan. He stares at it for a long moment. The Lucas in the picture looks younger, softer, hopeful. He puts the photo face down and slides it into the box with everything else. He doesn't keep a single item. The calls don't stop. His phone buzzes again. 16 missed calls. Vanessa 12 messages. Vanessa he scrolls through them mechanically. Lucas, why are you doing this? Please talk to me. I didn't mean what I said. Jordan tricked me. We can fix us. I'm coming back inside. Pick up the phone. He reads none of them fully, just sees enough to confirm what he already knew. He turns the phone silent and puts it face down again. Deep cleaning. Hours pass. Sweat forms on his forehead. His arms ache. Dust coats his fingers. His shirt sticks to his skin. But he keeps going. Room by room. Object by object. Memory by memory. Every drawer he empties feels like ripping out a weed that's been quietly choking him. Every time he clears a surface, he breathes a little easier. He vacuums under the couch, finding hair ties, receipts, a lipstick cap. All hers. He scrubs the bathroom tile until it gleams. He washes the sheets twice. He opens every window to let the stale air escape, letting in something new, something clean. The apartment breathes with him. The final gesture of the day. By evening, the apartment looks like a storm swept through, but a cleansing one. Boxes stacked neatly. Trash bags lined by the door. Surfaces clearer than they've been in years. Space opening up everywhere. Lucas stands in the middle of it all, hands resting on his waist, chest rising and falling with slow, deliberate breaths. He feels tired, but free. At his feet sits a final box containing the last of Vanessa's belongings. Photos, notes, small gifts, things that once meant something but now mean nothing. He closes the lid gently. The ghosts are packed away. Vanessa's messages continue to flood in. The doorknob rattles once. Then silence. Lucas doesn't move toward the door. He doesn't check the phone. He doesn't respond. Tonight, The silence belongs to him. Chapter 7. Legal Fallout and Chloe's Updates. 3 days pass after Lucas stripped the apartment of Vanessa's presence. 3 quiet, strangely peaceful days. The boxes stacked by the door wait like silent tombstones of a marriage already buried. Lucas sits at the small dining table, the same table where Vanessa used to scatter her half-finished makeup and expensive brunch receipts, now clean, empty his. A mug of coffee rests in front of him. It's early, the sun barely touching the windows. His phone buzzes. Chloe calling. He answers immediately. "Morning. You sound calm," Chloe says. She's always been direct, sharp. A lawyer's voice with an undertone of "I've had 3 coffees already." "I am calm," Lucas replies. "Calmer than I've been in years." "Well, good. Because you're going to like what I have to tell you." Papers shuffle on her end. "I spoke with the buyer." Lucas raises an eyebrow. "And he's fully cooperating." "Completely," he said, and I'm quoting, "I want nothing to do with your wife's circus." Lucas snorts. "Accurate. He's filing a voided sale agreement today. The transaction is officially dead." Lucas leans back in his chair, letting the weight slide off his shoulders. "That's good news." "Very good," Chloe replies. "And before you ask, no, Vanessa has absolutely no legal claim. Not even a sliver. She signed away the deed herself during the refinancing. You're the sole owner." Lucas already knew that, but hearing it again feels like grounding. Solid, undeniable. "And her involvement?" he asks carefully. "Anything I should expect?" There's a short pause before Chloe replies. "Lucas, this is where things get messy for her." Lucas doesn't say anything, just waits. "Selling a property you don't legally own?" Chloe continues. "That's fraud. Clear cut. And the buyer mentioned she was extremely pushy, even tried to rush him to pay before signing final paperwork. That looks deliberate. She knew she didn't read those refinancing papers," Lucas mutters. "She knew," Chloe agrees. "And legally, that's reckless. Potentially criminal." Lucas rubs his forehead. He'd expected consequences, but hearing it framed so sharply still hits hard. "I'm not trying to send her to jail," he says quietly. Chloe breathes out. "I know. But Lucas, the consequences exist whether we want them or not. The buyer isn't pressing charges because he didn't lose money. That helps her. A lot. But she's still exposed." He nods slowly. There's another shuffle of papers. "Oh, and she's trying to stall the divorce." Lucas closes his eyes, jaw tightening. "Of course she is. She filed a motion yesterday," Chloe says. "It won't go anywhere. She has 0 leverage. No property. No financial contribution. No proof of wrongdoing from you. It's an empty attempt to delay the inevitable." Lucas stares at the boxes near the door. "She's not letting go. She's losing everything," Chloe replies gently. "People in her position cling to whatever scraps of control they think they have left." The truth of it sits uncomfortably in his chest. Chloe continues, "Look, I'll handle all the paperwork. She's got no angle. This will be quick." "Thank you," Lucas says. He means it. "Any trouble from her directly?" she asks. Lucas glances at his silent phone. 28 missed calls, dozens of texts. "She's been persistent." Chloe laughs dryly. "I figured. Just keep ignoring her. Don't engage. Don't reply. Don't let her come inside. Anything she says or does could be used later." "I know," he murmurs. "Trust me, I'm not letting her back in." "Good." Chloe's tone softens a little. "Lucas, how are you doing?" He hesitates. Then, better. A breath. Strangely better. "Good," she repeats. "Keep moving forward. I'll update you as things progress." Lucas ends the call and sets the phone down. For a moment, he just sits, feeling the quiet settle around him again. Vanessa's attempts. The peace doesn't last long. 10 minutes later, his phone buzzes again. "Vanessa, I heard from someone that the sale fell through. Did you do this? Answer me." Lucas puts the phone face down without opening the message. Another buzz. "Vanessa, you're ruining my life out of spite." He sighs. Then a loud knock on the door. His body tenses instinctively. He doesn't move. Another knock. Harder. "Lucas." Vanessa's voice pierces through the wood. "I know you're in there. Open the door." He stays seated, unmoving, staring at the window. "Lucas, please." Her voice cracks. We need to talk. He doesn't respond. Why are you doing this to me? I know you talked to your lawyer. I know you're trying to make me look bad. Silence. I didn't know about the deed, she cries. You tricked me. Lucas exhales slowly. He closes his eyes. He thinks about Chloe's words. Don't engage. He doesn't. Vanessa hits the door one more time, then her footsteps retreat. The hallway grows quiet again. Chloe's second call. The next day, Chloe calls again. Lucas is wiping down the kitchen counters when he picks up. How bad? He asks, almost joking. Depends, Chloe says. Do you want the good news or the ridiculous news? Give me ridiculous. She tried filing a counter motion accusing you of emotional negligence. Lucas freezes. Then seriously? Oh yes. Allegedly, you caused her to seek affection elsewhere. Because you and I, quote, lacked passion, initiative, and emotional spontaneity. Lucas stares blankly at the phone. Those aren't even legal accusations. No, Chloe replies cheerfully. They are not. The judge dismissed it within 5 minutes. Lucas presses a hand over his face. God, she's scrambling, Chloe adds, throwing everything she can at the wall to see what sticks. Nothing will stick, Lucas says with newfound certainty. Exactly, and she knows that now, which is why she's panicking. Lucas leans against the counter. So what's the good news? The judge approved fast-track processing. Barring any surprises, your divorce will be finalized soon. Very soon. Lucas lets out a breath he feels in his bones. That's really good news. Exactly the kind you deserve. Vanessa's spiral. The next few days, Vanessa's messages shift tone violently. Please talk to me. We can fix this. You're my husband. You owe me a conversation. Answer your phone, damn it. Do you want to ruin me? Jordan blocked me. Because of you. I'm losing everything. Lucas, please. I'm scared. Each message paints a picture of her unraveling. Lucas reads none of them fully, just sees the previews on the lock screen before deleting them. Jordan remains non-existent. Silent. Absent. A ghost who vanished the moment reality hit him. Chloe continues to call with updates, each one confirming the same truth. Vanessa has no power anymore. Everything she tried to control is slipping away. Everything she tried to take from Lucas is returning to him. Lucas's steady shift. Lucas doesn't celebrate. He doesn't seek revenge. He doesn't dwell on her downfall. Instead, he focuses on rebuilding. He organizes his home. He starts cooking again. He walks in the evenings. He opens the windows every morning. He breathes without feeling like the air belongs to someone else. When Chloe calls on the 5th day with a final update, all paperwork is filed. The buyer's declaration sealed the deal. Vanessa has no standing. The judge is pushing this through quickly. Lucas stands quietly in the living room, sunlight warming his back. Thank you, he says softly. You did the right thing, Chloe tells him. And now you're protected. Completely. Lucas nods, even though she can't see it. Vanessa might finally be realizing the consequences of her actions, realizing she can't stall, can't twist things, can't claw her way back to control. And Lucas? He stays steady, silent, focused, choosing not revenge, just freedom. Chapter 8, Vanessa's Collapse. Lucas woke up to the sound of his phone vibrating on the nightstand. A long, desperate vibration, the kind signaling someone was calling over and over again. He didn't need to check the screen. He already knew who it was. He let it ring. The call ended. Seconds later, a text appeared. Vanessa. Lucas, please. Can we talk? I'm outside. Lucas sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. He exhaled slowly, letting the silence stretch. He had gotten used to the quiet, the calm. Vanessa's chaos felt like a foreign language now, one he had no intention of relearning. He stood, walked to the window, and peeked through the curtain. There she was, Vanessa, in yesterday's clothes. Hair unbrushed, eyes puffy, walking small, nervous circles on the sidewalk like a panicked stray that kept losing its owner. Lucas closed the curtain. He didn't go down. He didn't answer. He didn't acknowledge her existence. Not anymore. The first wave, apologies. 2 hours later, after she finally left, Lucas checked the new messages. 15 missed calls, 9 texts, a voice message. He played on speaker while washing a coffee mug. Her voice cracked immediately. Lucas, hi. I know I made a mistake. I know things got complicated. A shaky breath. I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear. Jordan said things. He twisted everything. I was confused. I thought we were drifting apart, and Lucas turned off the recording mid-sentence, rinsed the mug, and set it on the rack. He didn't need to hear excuses from a woman who laughed while throwing his life away. The second wave, accusations. By noon, her tone had changed. Vanessa, you're being cruel. I'm trying to fix things. Vanessa, so that's it? You're just done with your wife? Vanessa, you think you're perfect? You think you didn't do anything wrong? Vanessa, everyone will know what kind of man you really are. Lucas read the text the way someone might read weather alerts for a storm that had already passed. Mild curiosity, zero emotional impact. He replied to none. The third wave, desperation. By evening, her messages shifted again. Less anger, more fear. Vanessa, I don't have anywhere to go tonight. Vanessa, Jordan won't pick up. I think he blocked me. Vanessa, please just talk to me. I'm scared. Vanessa, Lucas, I'm begging you. Lucas sat at his desk, assembling paperwork Chloe had requested. Bank statements, emails, the timeline of Vanessa's attempted sale. He organized everything with a strange sense of clarity, like a surgeon focusing on a procedure while chaos erupted around him. The phone buzzed again. Vanessa, I'm losing everything. That, Lucas thought, was the first honest sentence she'd sent. He turned the phone face down and continued sorting documents. Her first arrival. At 9 p.m., a violent pounding echoed through the apartment. Lucas, open the door. The shout carried through the hallway, bouncing off the walls with raw, feral emotion. Lucas walked to the door, but didn't unlock it. He simply stood behind it, calm, silent. Vanessa's voice cracked. Please, I just want to talk. Then softer, I don't have anyone else. He remained still. You can't ignore me forever, she sniffed. I'm your wife. Lucas closed his eyes briefly, letting out a slow exhale. Not anymore, he thought. Her knocks grew weaker, then stopped. Minutes later, he heard footsteps retreating. He didn't look through the peephole. He didn't chase after her. He simply returned to his cleaning, wiping down the counters, reorganizing drawers, restoring the life she'd destabilized. The second arrival. 3 days passed before she returned. Lucas was taking out the trash when he saw her sitting by the building entrance. Hoodie, sunglasses, knees pulled to her chest, smaller than he remembered, like someone had drained her arrogance and left only the fragile shell. She stood the moment she saw him. Lucas, please. Just a minute. 1 minute. He kept walking toward the bins outside. She followed behind him like a shadow. Jordan's gone, she said quietly. He said he can't risk his career over a woman who commits fraud. His words, not mine. Her voice cracked. My friends, they all think I messed up. They don't return my calls. Lucas tossed the trash bag into the bin, dusted off his hands, and turned toward the building. Vanessa physically stepped in front of him. Don't you have anything to say? He paused, not because he wanted to speak, but because she was blocking his path. Then he stepped around her without a word and walked back inside. Lucas, please, she shouted, her voice shattering. I'm sorry. I said I'm sorry. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. The door shut behind him with a heavy echo. Messages go dark. After that, her texts became inconsistent. Long gaps, then floods of words, then silence again. A roller coaster of unraveling emotions playing out on his phone screen. Vanessa, you used to love me. Vanessa, do you even care what happens to me? Vanessa, I can't sleep. I can't think. Please talk to me. Vanessa, I hate you for doing this. Vanessa, I need you. Vanessa, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Vanessa, answer me. Please. Lucas deleted none of the messages. Chloe said they might matter later, but he didn't respond to any of them. Not out of revenge. Out of self-preservation. Her breakdown. One afternoon, while Lucas was reorganizing the bedroom closet, the building manager buzzed his intercom. Mr. Hale? There's a woman here trying to get up to your floor. She's crying, yelling your name. Do you want me to let her through? Lucas glanced at the neatly folded shirts in his hands. No, he said calmly. Please don't. Got it, the manager replied. I'll escort her out. Through the window, Lucas could see Vanessa outside, pacing wildly, hands waving as she argued with the manager. Even from a distance, he could see the desperation written in every movement. Eventually, she was guided off the property. Lucas drew the curtains. He didn't watch her leave. The last spiral. That evening, a long voicemail appeared. Nearly 3 minutes. He didn't play it. He didn't need to hear any more broken apologies or misplaced accusations. Instead, he walked to the balcony, stepped into the cool night air, and inhaled slowly. The sky was dark and quiet, dotted with faint city lights. His home, his space, finally felt like it belonged to him again. Behind him, the phone buzzed once more. He ignored it. Vanessa's collapse was slow, messy, and entirely self-inflicted. A downward spiral she had built with her own hands, brick by brick, lie by lie, betrayal by betrayal. And Lucas refused to let her drag him back into it. He turned away from the railing, walked inside, and closed the balcony door with a quiet finality. Chapter 9, Lucas's New Beginning. The morning sun streamed into the apartment in a way it hadn't in years, not filtered through Vanessa's heavy curtains or dimmed by her constant presence. Lucas stood by the window, hands in his pockets, looking out over the city skyline. Everything felt new. Everything felt possible. He sipped his coffee, strong and black, the kind Vanessa would never drink. The warmth spread slowly through him, carrying with it a quiet, satisfying sense of liberation. The divorce papers had arrived that morning. Clean, signed, final, no ambiguity, no lingering traps. It was over. Completely, irrevocably over. Vanessa had no claim, no leverage, no recourse. He was free. Lucas exhaled slowly, letting the weight of years lift. Then, with deliberate calm, he set the papers down on the kitchen counter and walked into the living room. The space that had once been suffocating under Vanessa's influence now looked like a blank canvas. He ran a hand along the freshly cleaned surfaces, taking in the emptiness as an invitation rather than a void. All right, he murmured to himself, time to make this mine, redecorating and reclaiming. Lucas began with the living room. He removed the last of the boxed items, giving each a final glance before sending them off to the charity donation pile. He swapped out Vanessa's gaudy curtains for simple, modern shades. He replaced her clashing throw pillows with muted tones that matched the walls. The bookshelf that once showcased her trendy, but meaningless, books now held titles he actually enjoyed. Novels he had abandoned during the years of compromise, biographies of people he admired, and a few well-thumbed classics. He placed a record player on a small side table, a collection of jazz and blues stacked neatly beside it. The sound of the first record spinning filled the apartment, warm and nostalgic. Lucas walked through the rooms, opening windows to let in fresh air, removing any lingering scent of Vanessa's perfumes and candles. Each room slowly began to feel like home again, not a museum of someone else's tastes, but a reflection of him. As he worked, he hummed quietly, a simple, private melody. For the first time in years, the apartment felt alive, and it was his. Reconnecting with friends. By mid-afternoon, Lucas called Ethan, his best friend since college. Ethan, Lucas said when his friend answered, come by. Coffee. Or beer. Or both. I need a witness. Witness to what? Ethan's voice carried a hint of teasing. That you finally got rid of the tyrant? Lucas chuckled softly. Something like that. When Ethan arrived, he stepped into the apartment and paused, taking it all in. Wow, he said. This place, it's you. It actually feels like you live here now. Lucas smiled, a real one that reached his eyes. Feels strange. Feels right. Ethan glanced around, noting the neat bookshelves, the subtle colors, the record players spinning in the corner. You look lighter, he said, leaning against the kitchen counter. Happy. Really happy. Like you've been holding your breath for years and just finally exhaled. Lucas shrugged, but he couldn't hide the truth. I was blind, he admitted. Completely blind. I thought I was living a life with someone, but I was just living around her. Always calculating, always adjusting, always walking on eggshells. And I didn't even see it. Ethan nodded. You're breathing now. That's all that matters. And it suits you. They spent the afternoon reminiscing, laughing over old stories, and catching up on years of missed conversations. The sound of genuine connection filled the apartment, a stark contrast to the tense silences that had dominated it for so long. Rediscovering forgotten hobbies. After Ethan left, Lucas moved to the balcony with a sketchbook he hadn't touched in over 5 years. Drawing had been one of the first hobbies he abandoned when life became about compromise and conflict. The pencil felt foreign in his hand at first, but soon he fell into the familiar rhythm. He sketched the skyline, the same one he had been staring at that morning, but now with details he had ignored before. The subtle curve of a rooftop, the patterns of light on windows, the way the clouds seemed to drift lazily. Each line felt like a reclamation of his own time, his own mind. After an hour, Lucas leaned back and studied his work. It wasn't perfect, but it was his. The apartment had become a sanctuary for creativity rather than a battlefield for control. The act of creating filled a space he hadn't realized was empty for so long. A sense of freedom. Evening came, and Lucas sat in the living room with the lights low, a glass of whiskey in hand. The record spun softly in the background, filling the space with warmth. He leaned back in his chair and let the quiet wash over him. He thought about the years he had spent under Vanessa's shadow. The constant calculations, the emotional labor, the compromises that never felt mutual. And now it was gone. No manipulations, no threats, no pressure to be someone he wasn't. Just him. He felt the weight lift off his chest, leaving space for breathing, for thinking, for living. For the first time in years, he could make choices for himself, small ones, large ones, all of them completely free of interference. Reflections. Lucas glanced around the apartment, taking in each room, each corner. The living room now reflected his taste. The bedroom was uncluttered, peaceful. The kitchen smelled faintly of lemon cleaner, not candles. A small smile crossed his face. He remembered a time before Vanessa's influence, before the compromises that had weighed him down. He realized he had almost forgotten how to feel content, how to feel happy simply in his own skin, in his own space. He thought about Vanessa one last time, not with anger, not with sadness, but with clarity. She had been a storm he weathered, a chapter that ended abruptly. And now, he had the freedom to write the next chapters exactly as he wanted. A new chapter. Lucas poured himself another glass of whiskey, sank into the couch, and picked up a book he had been meaning to read for years. The record spun another track. A soft smile lingered on his lips. He could hear the distant hum of the city outside, but inside his apartment was calm, warm, and entirely his. The boxes were gone. The apartment reflected him. The air smelled clean. The light hit the walls at just the right angle. The world felt possible. He thought about reconnecting with more friends, maybe try a few new hobbies, maybe even traveling. For the first time in a long time, the future didn't feel threatening. It felt like a gift. And when Ethan had visited, he saw it too. Lucas's shoulders were lighter, his eyes brighter. The tension that had defined years of his life had finally released. It wasn't about revenge or reclaiming what was lost. It was about discovering what he had been missing all along. Freedom. Lucas leaned back, closed his eyes, and let a deep, satisfying breath fill his lungs. For the first time in years, he was in control of his life. He was free. He was safe. He was alive. And he knew, with quiet certainty, that this was only the beginning. Chapter 10, Freedom. The final scene. The apartment was quiet. Deeply, completely quiet, the kind of silence that isn't just the absence of sound, but a presence itself, a presence that felt like safety, like home. Lucas sat on the edge of his couch, one leg crossed over the other, hands resting loosely on his knees. Outside, the city pulsed with life, distant sirens and car horns creating a faint, unobtrusive rhythm. Inside, he had peace. His peace. He glanced at his phone, lying face up on the coffee table. It buzzed once. A single notification. Vanessa. Lucas, please. Just one conversation. I need you to hear me. He stared at the message for a long moment. Her name at the top made his stomach tighten slightly, a reflex of old memories and old habits, but he didn't open it. He didn't need to. He knew what it would say. Excuses, apologies, manipulation, guilt, maybe even a last attempt at seduction. All words designed to pull him back into the storm he had spent months escaping. Lucas exhaled slowly, calm, deliberate. He tapped the notification to delete it. Swipe. Gone. Just like that. He set the phone down. The apartment, fully his. He looked around the apartment. Every surface, every corner, every piece of furniture reflected him now. The walls wore muted colors he loved. The bookshelf displayed novels he actually read, memoirs he wanted to read, and some of his own journals tucked neatly on the lower shelves. The living room smelled faintly of cedarwood and lemon cleaner. No trace of Vanessa's perfumes. No hints of candles that clung to the air for days. The apartment had been transformed, slowly, deliberately, piece by piece, until it felt like it was breathing with him, moving in time with his rhythm. He moved to the kitchen and poured himself a glass of water. The faucet gleamed. The counters were spotless. He opened a cabinet, admired the organized rows of dishes, the small collection of mugs, each one a reminder of his personal taste. One had a faded logo from a coffee shop he frequented before the marriage. A simple thing, but it felt like reclaiming a part of himself that had been lost. He took the glass back to the couch, letting his fingers brush over the fabric of the cushions. He ran a hand along the armrest. The couch felt different now. Not just furniture, but a place of comfort, a space he had filled with intention. Reflections on the past. Lucas leaned back, letting his head rest against the cushions, and let his mind wander through the past few months. The phone call from Vanessa, the laugh in her voice as she tried to destroy him, the shock, the disbelief. The drive home, the confrontation with Jordan, the deed, her panic, her denial, the way Jordan had walked out, and then the reclaiming. Every box, every discarded item, every scrubbed surface had been more than cleaning. It had been a purification, a shedding of the weight, of control, of manipulation, of suffocation. Each step he took in reclaiming his home had also been a step toward reclaiming himself. He remembered Chloe's updates, the legal battles that had ended cleanly in his favor, Vanessa's spiraling messages, her desperate appearances at the apartment. He remembered watching her collapse from a distance, powerless to help her, yet strangely free from needing to. He smiled faintly, not because he felt joy at her downfall, but because he had survived, because he had not only endured, but emerged stronger. Small gestures of renewal. Lucas stood and walked slowly through each room. He opened a window in the bedroom, letting the evening breeze carry away the last whispers of the past. He adjusted a few of the framed photographs on the walls, moments of vacations, friends, places he had loved long before Vanessa entered his life. They no longer felt like relics of a shared history. They were simply his. In the corner of the living room, he found a sketchbook he had begun filling after the divorce. The pages were lined with drawings of rooftops, skylines, and quiet city streets. Each sketch was a testament to the life he was building for himself, a life unencumbered by anyone else's expectations. He picked up a pencil, turned to a blank page, and started to draw again. Lines flowed freely, effortlessly. His hand moved with confidence, with clarity. There were no interruptions, no criticisms, no subtle manipulations whispering from the shadows. Just him, the paper, and the life he was creating. The quiet joy of freedom. Lucas moved to the balcony. The city stretched out before him, lights twinkling like distant stars. The hum of traffic, the occasional shout from a street below, the rustle of leaves in the evening wind, it all felt like music. He breathed deeply, savoring the air, the calm, the liberation. He remembered the long nights of tension, the constant undercurrent of anxiety he had carried. Now that weight was gone. No more pretending, no more calculating, no more walking on eggshells. The apartment was his. His decisions, his choices, his space, his life. He thought briefly of Vanessa, her lies, her manipulations, her failed attempts to drag him back into chaos. She had tried to destroy him. She had tried to take what was his. But in the end, she had destroyed only herself. and he had survived. The thought didn't fill him with triumph or anger. It filled him with clarity, with peace, with gratitude for the second chance he had been given, the chance to live freely, authentically, and fully in his own skin. Embracing the new life, Lucas stepped back inside, closing the balcony door behind him. He walked through the apartment slowly, observing each corner. The room reflected who he was now, not who he had been forced to be. The colors, the arrangement, the objects, they all spoke of choice, not compromise. He settled on the couch again, lifting the record player's tone arm to set a new record spinning. Soft jazz filled the room. The gentle vibrations of the music seemed to echo through the apartment, mingling with the stillness, creating a space that was entirely alive, entirely his. He poured a glass of whiskey and took a slow sip, savoring the warmth. He closed his eyes, letting the music and the silence wash over him. No phone calls, no messages, no demands, no chaos. Just him, just freedom. Lucas allowed himself a small smile, faint but genuine. For the first time in years, he felt the weight lift entirely. His mind was clear, his heart unburdened. His home, his life, his choices finally fully his. He set the glass down and leaned back, arms stretched along the couch. He watched the shadows move across the room as the sun dipped lower, the lights of the city flickering through the windows. He thought about the weeks and months ahead, friends to reconnect with, hobbies to rediscover, nights to sleep peacefully, mornings to greet freely. And he knew he was ready. Freedom wasn't just the absence of Vanessa. It wasn't just winning the apartment, the divorce, the legal battles. It was the calm, the clarity, the ability to breathe without fear, to create without interruption, to live entirely on his terms. Lucas had survived. Lucas had rebuilt. Lucas had emerged stronger than ever. And now he was free. He closed his eyes, took a long, steady breath, and let it out slowly. The apartment, the city, the world, all of it was his to navigate, his to claim, and his to enjoy. He opened his eyes, smiled, and sat back, finally at peace.